What's so special about the 12th fret on a guitar? If you never played a guitar, if you don't know anything about it, even if you just look at the instrument, you hopefully can see that the 12th fret, this fret, if you want to count them, this is the 12th fret, it's got 2 dots on it. The others have got 1 dot where the markers are. So even if you know nothing, there's obviously something different about that 12th fret. So why has it got 2 dots on? What's special about it? And more importantly, what makes it special? So I'm going to try and cover that in this video. There's 3 sort of points that I'm going to talk about. A tiny little bit of music theory, a tiny little bit of science, and then probably more importantly, what it actually means for us in terms of playing the guitar. So the music theory. You might have heard about something called an octave in music. So in music you've got, there's only 7 notes in music. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7 notes. There's no H, I, it doesn't carry on. So there's only 7 notes. You also got sharps and flats, as we refer to them, which are in between those 7 notes. You'll see them on your chord sheets or on your diagrams as the little hashtags or the little skewed little B letters. So they're the sharps and flats. But the actual notes that have got letters to them, there's only 7. As I say, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So octave, if you look at the word octave, means 8, I think from Greek or Roman or something like that. So octave basically means 8. So bearing in mind our 7 notes, when we play an 8th note, if there was such a thing, there isn't, but when we play an 8th note, what that means is we go back to the start and repeat the first note that we've played. So I'll demonstrate that. It'll probably be easier if I just play them on the guitar. Because I'm going to start with A, it'll be easier for you to understand. One of my strings is an A string, an open A string. So I can start by playing an A note. So that can be my first note, so 1. The next one is B, C, D, E, F, and G. Play all those notes on my A string. So I'll count them as we go up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those are my 7 notes. Those are the only notes that exist. There is no more. Now, after that, if I wanted to carry on playing up, then I'm going to get to this sort of imaginary 8th note, the octave note. So if I was to carry on playing up that A string, that's my octave note, the 8th note. Now, as I say, there is no 8th note, so all I'm doing is playing the first note again, the A. So that note is the same as that. It's just 1 octave higher. If you imagine a piano keyboard, picture in your head a piano keyboard, there's loads of keys on the keyboard, but we've only got 7 notes. So obviously those notes repeat as you go from left to right on your piano keyboard. Sorry, as you're seeing this from left to right on your piano keyboard. Then we play 7 white notes, that's an octave. The next 7 is an octave, the next 7 is an octave, yada yada. The black notes on the piano are your sharps and flats, your hashtags and letter B's. So we've only got those 7 notes before it starts repeating itself again. So the 12th fret, sometimes called the octave fret, because that's where the notes start repeating. I've done it on the A string because it's easy to show you, because we started with the note of A. That works exactly the same for all 6 strings. So we play our way up the string. By the time we get to this 12th fret, the notes start repeating themselves again. So in musical terms, in musical theory terms, that's the reason why the 12th fret's important. It's the octave fret. So enough of the theory for now. Why does it happen at the 12th fret? Seems a coincidence, doesn't it, that when I play up my 7 notes on my scale, then the next one happens to be the 12th fret with the 2 dots. Well, that's where the science comes in. If you look at the length of your string on your guitar, so what I'm looking at is from my nut here, where the string joins the nut, to the bridge here, where the string ends at the bridge. Forget the bits up here on the tuning heads, because we're not playing those bits. We're in the bits where the string actually vibrates in between these 2 points. If you were to measure it, have a go at this by all means if you've got a tape measure or a long enough ruler. The 12th fret is exactly halfway down the length of your string. So this point here, your 12th fret, that is halfway between here and here. Looks a bit deceptive on when you look at it just at a glance on a guitar, because of the neck finishes here, so you tend to think of it as here to here. But if you look at the actual full string length, it's from here to here, and that is halfway down the length of the string. The science bit is to do with the vibration of the string. If I play the open string, I'll use the A again, that's going to vibrate at a certain frequency to create the A note. In the science bit, if I half the length of the string, so I'm creating a string that's half as long, so I'm going to fret it here, forget everything down here because we're not going to worry about that. So now my string runs from here to here. I've half the length of the string, that creates the octave, so the note is an octave higher. Actually, on this particular guitar, because I'm using this guitar, I'll explain it whilst I'm here. You might notice I've also got another fret up here that's got 2 dots on, so it's not the only fret with 2 dots on. Some guitars don't have as many frets. There's a few guitars have some more, but most guitars have between 21, 22 or 24 frets. This guitar's got 24 frets, so this is what's known as a 2 octave neck. So why is it a 2 octave neck? Well, think about the science that I've just told you. I've created an octave by halving the length of the string, by putting my finger on here to fret it. If I was to play up on this fret, the 24th fret, well, guess what? I've halved the string length again, so I've gone up another octave. So every time I reduce the string length by half on a guitar, the note goes up by an octave. So that's how it works in science, and that's how it works in music theory. The important bit is, what does that mean to us when we're actually playing? Well, the good news is, assuming you're fairly new to guitar, when you first start learning, you see a lot of notes in front of you. Okay, so you've got 6 strings, you've got, in this case, 24 frets, so I don't know, do the math, there's 144, is it? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but you think there's loads of notes that you can actually play. But once we get to the 12th fret, once we get to the octave fret, the notes just start again. So if I learn those notes like I just played at the start on my A string, those 7 notes, the only notes that exist. Once I get to my octave, I don't have to remember any new notes, I just have to play those same notes again. And then back up to the A. So when you look at the 12th fret on your guitar, you can imagine it as being almost like another nut. So you nut down at this end, where you start learning your notes from. Use your E string for example, so you learn your notes on your E string, your E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. You can go all the way up. When I get to my 12th fret, they just start repeating. So starting at my 12th fret, that's the octave of E, so it's an E, E, F, F sharp, G. So the notes just start repeating again. So if you wasn't aware of this previously, once you get to here, learning your notes, you've learnt all the notes. The other ones are just repeated what you've already learnt. So as a practical example, if I was to play, let's say, a minor pentatonic scale, I can play that down in the root position in E, E minor pentatonic. just basic and standard. Play that same scale an octave higher. All I'm going to do is play it at the 12th fret. The notes will be the same, but every note I've just played is 1 octave higher. So that's why the 12th fret's important. It's born out of musical theory. The science backs it up in terms of it halving the string length, and in terms of learning the guitar, it means that we only have to learn the notes up to the 12th fret, and then just imagine we're starting again and they all repeat. Enjoy.